Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is a show where we take a whole stack of incredible sources, we sift through them, and we pull out the most important, surprising nuggets of knowledge and insight, and we tailor it just for you.
Hmm.
Today, we're diving into the peculiar, deeply personal, and often unsettlingly relatable world of Miranda July's short stories.
That's right. And these aren't just, simple narratives. They feel more like these intimate explorations of consciousness. You really blur the lines between reality, fantasy, and sometimes, well, obsession.
Yeah, they really do. So this deep dive, it's kind of your shortcut, right? To understanding the profound insights hidden in July's, let's say, unconventional prose.
Exactly. We're trying to extract those surprising bits of knowledge about human identity, connection, and the really unexpected ways we kind of create our own realities, even in the most, mundane settings.
So our mission today is to unpack how July's characters, and they're often unnamed, right? Always introspective, how they navigate their inner landscapes.
Yeah, they're constantly reinventing themselves, forming these sometimes bizarre intimacies.
And finding profound meaning in maybe the most uncomfortable circumstances. We want to reveal those, universal truths about longing, fear, the relentless human search for belonging.
Delivering those aha moments, hopefully.
Exactly. Those moments that challenge how we usually think about self and love. So, okay, let's get into it. How does July take the ordinary and just transform it into something extraordinary?
Well, it's a remarkable skill she has. She has this incredible way of showing us how, ordinary settings, everyday routines, they become these rich backdrops for truly extraordinary internal narratives and radical shifts in personal identity.
You see that straight away in the shared patio, don't you?
Oh, definitely. The narrator is meticulously, I mean, almost obsessively, tracking her patio usage. She's got a calendar. She's making marks.
Right, just make sure she's getting her money's worth from the rent.
Exactly. Her goal is, and this is a quote, to spend exactly the same amount of time on the patio as they do, just to ensure she's getting value.
Yeah.
It's funny, but also, quite unsettling in its precision.
And it totally sets the stage for these wild projections onto her neighbor, Vincent Chang.
Totally. She filters him entirely through, like, this lens of a magazine article she read.
Deciding he's a new man.
Right, a new man. Because new men cry, since, and this logic is amazing, there's just nowhere for a baby to come out.
It's such an arbitrary thing, isn't it? But it's this, deeply felt internal narrative she's built around a complete stranger.
And speaking of that internal life, the story is sprinkled with these quirky, kind of dark advice interjections.
Yeah, there's that one particularly alarming suggestion to stab an old pillow on the front lawn
Oh, yeah.
again and again until it's gone. As revenge for what? For having to live on this planet day after day alone? That really gets under your skin.
It really does. It's such a vivid illustration of a mind that's constantly battling its own solitude. And then after Vincent has that epileptic seizure, the narrator actually dreams this whole scenario.
Right, his romantic confession, and his wife Helena can't interfere because of the Hippocratic Oath.
Exactly. It just perfectly showcases how her internal fantasy completely blends with, or maybe overwrites, external reality.
So July's showing how crafting this internal world, even one built on something absurd like patio timing or an imagined neighbor, it becomes its own fragile reality.
Yeah, a coping mechanism that's somehow both hilarious and, well, heartbreakingly human.
And that idea, inventing a reality, it extends so beautifully to the swim team.
Oh, absolutely. The narrator arrives in this town, Belvedere, and just reinvents herself, becomes Coach Maria.
Even though Marie isn't her real name.
Not her real name at all. And she's coaching 3 elderly individuals,
Yeah.
Elizabeth, Kelda, and Jack. It's not just a name change. It's like a whole new identity she steps into.
And the lessons themselves are something else.
They really are.
Yeah.
What's truly striking is the audacity of their collective imagination. The swimming lessons, well, they're extraordinary. The students learn to swim in bowls of warm, salted tap water.
On a kitchen floor.
On the kitchen floor. They're doing butterfly strokes on land. They're even diving from a desktop onto a bed.
For safety.
For safety, yeah. It's this testament to a shared imaginative effort, right? A collective act of profound belief that somehow makes this fantasy tangible for them.
And the companionship that comes out of this bizarre activity, it's genuinely moving.
It is. And the narrator's reflection later on her students' deaths, where she calls herself the saddest swim coach in all of history, it just highlights how deeply this invented reality shaped her sense of self and connection.
It really forces you, the listener, to consider, What personal meaning do you maybe infuse into your own mundane activities? And how might that quiet, imaginative effort actually transform your sense of self, your connections, even if it looks utterly ridiculous from the outside?
Yeah, that's such a core July insight, I think. Our deepest realities are often the ones we construct, not necessarily the ones we're just given.
Okay, so we've seen how July's characters build these internal worlds, maybe to cope with the mundane. But what happens when their inner lives push them further, to like redefine their very identity and the nature of their relationships altogether?
Ah, right. This is where her characters really embrace these radical selves. And they form these intimate bonds that just defy societal norms. They blur the lines between the intensely personal and the outwardly public.
All in pursuit of unique forms of love or maybe just survival.
Yeah, sometimes just survival. It's
Yeah.
fascinating how fluid identity becomes in her stories.
Yeah.
Take Majesty, for example.
Okay.
The narrator develops this intense, dream-induced obsession with Prince William. Will, she calls him.
And it starts with a dream where he.
Where you nuzzled his face between my buns because he loved me. That's the quote. And her interpretation is just as bizarre. She types "but" into a dream interpretation website.
Mm.
It's comedic, yes, but also incredibly revealing of her, internal landscape.
And her plans to meet him get increasingly elaborate, right?
Yeah.
Fantastical.
Totally. From lecturing him on earthquake safety because she works at this place called Quake Care,
Right.
to spinning some kind of yarn in a pub to catch his attention.
But then, bam, reality hits hard.
It does. The fantasy just collides abruptly with reality when she encounters this woman who's desperately searching for her lost dog, Potato.
And Potato is later found dead.
Yeah. It's such a jarring shift. And the narrator herself feels like a grim reaper for those around her. It shows just how fragile, how permeable these constructed realities can be when the harshness of the outside world intrudes.
So if we're thinking about the spectrum of identity in July's work, we see characters really pushing boundaries to discover themselves.
Absolutely. And in something that needs nothing in this person, which are kind of interwoven, the narrator, who we later learned is named Gwen, takes this really unexpected path into sex work. She works at Mr. Peep's adult video store and more, performing live fantasy shows.
And that becomes a path to self-discovery.
In a strange way, yeah. She finds this odd form of self-discovery and even empowerment there. She realizes, quote, "I had once believed in a precious inner self, but now I didn't. I had thought that I was fragile, but I wasn't."
And the details are so vivid, sometimes uncomfortably so.
Oh, definitely. The transactional nature is laid bare. Cleaning a telephone receiver with Windex or a coworker collecting pee in a jelly jar. It's stark.
But her transformation into Gwen, it's striking. It's marked by her outfit.
The itty-bitty teeny-tiny shorts and the half shirt that said honk.
Yeah, and coupled with this newfound assertiveness, she's even practicing saying dirty words into the phone. It's a powerful and strange reinvention, and it feels like it's all her own.
And what's equally compelling is her bond with Pip. It's profound, it's complex.
Right, their shared history goes way back.
Yeah, childhood mating games, living like orphans even though they have parents, finding cockroaches pouring out of Chinese lanterns in their apartment. It's intense.
And Pip eventually abandons her.
He does. But the relationship kind of culminates later when Pip rescues Gwen from a stalker in Mr. Peep's.
And then they make love in his basement.
Yeah, in Pip's unfinished dirt floor basement. It's such a stark yet intimate setting. And Gwen wears her wig the entire time.
Suggesting maybe an intentional separation of self, even in that moment.
Possibly. I think July suggests that maybe our truest selves, or at least a self, might only emerge through these unconventional, maybe even uncomfortable forms of connection. It forces us to shed our preconceived notions of what identity even is.
And then we have Making Love in 2003 and I Kiss a Door. These really illuminate how deep and how unconventional romantic obsessions can run.
Yeah, the narrator in Making Love in 2003, she spends her life pursuing this dark shape.
Her phantom lover who, quote, fucked her when she was 15.
Right, and she eventually believes she finds him in human form. As a teenage student named Steve, while she's working as a special needs assistant.
Which raises all sorts of questions about love and fantasy.
Huge questions. The relationship, fueled by her fantasy, is certainly unconventional. And, ethically complicated in its real-world context.
Definitely.
Yet, she interprets Steve's disability, quote, "Disability was the shape's way of saying, I love you, I am here, it is me."
Wow.
The intensity of this connection, even when Steve's actual physical form doesn't really align with her expectations, it just shows the lengths July's characters will go to make their internal worlds, no matter how outlandish they might seem, feel real.
It really challenges the very idea of what love is, doesn't it? Maybe suggesting it can be less about the other person sometimes and more about our own deeply held, even bizarre needs.
Exactly.
So it makes you wonder, if identity isn't fixed and love can take these radical, unconventional forms, what does this tell us about the roles we play in our own lives and the hidden desires we harbor?
Yeah, how far might you, the listener, go to make your deepest fantasies real, even if it means completely reimagining yourself and the world around you?
July consistently reminds us, doesn't she, that what seems ordinary on the surface
Can be a total hotbed of internal transformation.
Yeah. So, speaking of transformation, let's shift focus slightly now and explore the nuances of human connection and empathy in July's stories. The subtle ways, often nonverbal, that characters forge deep bonds, find empathy, and maybe confront personal truths in really unexpected encounters.
10 True Things is such a powerful example of this, I think.
Okay.
The narrator is a secretary to this guy, Rick Marasovic, who's a fraudulent accountant.
Mm.
She gains this really intimate knowledge of his life, mainly through overhearing his phone calls with his girlfriend, Ellen.
Right, and Ellen is seeking flower essences for overcoming body shame.
Exactly. So it's this almost voyeuristic connection. But somehow it feels surprisingly tender. It's all through observation.
And then the twist, she discovers Ellen is in her sewing class.
Totally unexpected. And their bond forms in this quiet, shared space. The story says Ellen never inquired, but she never recoiled either. It's just this subtle but really profound connection built on unspoken understanding and shared presence.
And the pivotal moment in that class.
Ah, yeah. When the naked woman, Sue, reveals that her robe is actually nothing.
That line, nakedness recalled, like a seizure in the air.
It's incredible. And it fosters this profound non-sexual moment of mutual recognition between the narrator and Ellen, where, quote, "She saw me, I existed, and this lifted the beams off my shoulders." It's like this quiet explosion of empathy. Just beautiful.
And in It Was Romance, we get another fascinating take on connection, driven by this peculiar romance workshop.
Right, where the instructor's preaching that romance isn't real.
Yeah, that humans just create their own worlds in the small area in front of their face. It's almost like an anti-romance workshop.
It is, but paradoxically, it leads to this deep bond.
Because despite that cynical premise, there's this profound collaborative misery shared between the narrator and another attendee, Teresa, out in the hallway.
Exactly. Crying together becomes this unique form of profound connection. It's described as the sharing of air between our shoulders and chests and thighs.
It's such an unlikely intimacy, isn't it? But incredibly powerful, born from shared vulnerability.
It makes you realize that sometimes the most potent connections aren't forged in grand declarations at all, but maybe in the quiet shared experience of just human frailty. And then there's Mon Plaisir, which starts off describing the narrator's seemingly meaningful life with her husband, Carl.
Right, it sounds quite established. Buddhism, Tai Chi, nursing as a form of intimacy.
Yeah, like they have it all figured out, at least on paper.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Their experience as movie extras.
Yes, in a French restaurant scene for a film. And there's silent talking on set, where Carl is making these subtly absurd gestures.
That leads to a more profound and joyful connection than their actual verbal relationship.
Isn't that something? The narrator observes how striking he was in his collared shirt with his new haircut. He poured more wine, and we raised our glasses and mouthed to us.
It's so bittersweet, though, because that temporary artistic intimacy just highlights the fundamental disconnect in their real marriage.
Exactly. And it ultimately leads to this quiet, almost formal separation. It's like a testament to how sometimes the masks we wear, the roles we play, can actually reveal more truth than our supposed authentic selves.
And finally, birthmark.
Ah, yes. A woman has a port wine stain removed. She's expecting perfection, but instead she just feels disoriented. There's this subtle loss of identity.
She even gets a Norwegian accent she never had.
Right. The physical change reveals these deeper psychological truths about self-acceptance, or the lack of it.
And the climactic scene with the broken jam jar.
So powerful, when it causes her husband to momentarily see the birthmark return, like a hallucination.
And that fleeting vision leads to this moment of profound acceptance and possibility, like having more.
Yeah, including the notion that the stain's return could allow them to have a child now. It's such a beautiful moment of embracing imperfection, really. July shows us that true connection often means seeing and accepting the unseen or unexpressed parts of another person.
It's one of those quiet aha moments that really sticks with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What July consistently highlights across all these
Mhm.
stories, I think, is that genuine connection isn't just forged through, grand gestures or perfect alignment.
Right.
It's often through shared vulnerability, these silent understandings, even moments of sensory experience, or, yeah, hallucinations sometimes.
She prompts us to consider what unseen elements might be at play in your own relationships, those quiet, often unacknowledged truths that allow for deeper, maybe more unconventional forms of connection. So, okay, we've taken a real deep dive into Miranda July's stories today. And what we've seen, I think, is how she illuminates this really complex interplay between our deepest desires, the roles we inevitably play, and the often unconventional paths we take towards connection and self-acceptance.
Yeah, from meticulously tracking patio use.
To finding love with a phantom lover, her narratives really do kind of redefine what it means to be human in all its strangeness.
She truly invites us, doesn't she, to look beyond the surface of everyday life, beyond conventional relationships, to find this extraordinary depth
Mm.
and humor and moments of profound, sometimes, yeah, unsettling intimacy.
She reminds us that our internal worlds are just as rich, just as unpredictable as any external reality we navigate.
Absolutely.
So after experiencing these deep dives into July's unseen worlds, here's a final thought for you. What hidden truths about yourself, or maybe about your relationships, are you ready to uncover or perhaps even reinvent in that small, potent world right there in front of your own face?